It's just like,
psychologically, you're implanting a lot of ideas that because their emblem's bigger, that they dwarf us.
Yeah.
All right. Hello everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Press Start, where this week we're having a crossover with none other than IUP sports television show, The Big Hit.
absolutely.
I'm your host Colton, and with me
Is your host, Matt, as always.
yeah, that's
No different than any time.
no different.
Ever.
We got some exciting coverage coming up for you, but first we're going to go to some news on the NFL draft.
Yeah, we've got from The Big Hit,
Something
Stephen Langdon Jr.
completely out of
Yeah.
most of our
Yeah, I know like two
experience.
people who are going to be drafted.
I
so.
once played kickball when I was 4.
Have you not played kickball since?
I've played kickball simulator, but
It's pretty good.
I just play video games. I don't play sports, so.
Yeah, but let's get into that with
Let's get
Stephen
into that.
Langdon and The Big Hit. Here we go.
Welcome back to The Big Hit. I'm your host, Stephen Langdon Jr., joined by Nick Dudowski and Will Barbera, and we're going to be talking about the NFL Draft. Guys, how are you feeling?
Ooh, I'm excited, Steve. I cannot wait till Roger Goodell calls the first name of the NFL Draft.
I'm right there with you. It's one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah, definitely, and that brings us to our first question. The draft is coming up next Thursday in the Music City of Nashville, Tennessee. Who will Roger Goodell call first?
Well, Steve, I think that's an easy one. I think that everyone's expecting Kyler Murray to go number 1 overall in the draft. I don't think it matters whether it is the Arizona Cardinals, whether it's the Giants, whether it's the Dolphins, whether it's the Redskins, Broncos, even the Bengals. It doesn't matter. Someone is going to take Kyler Murray first overall this year in the draft, and that's the bottom line.
I think it's. I agree with Dudowski that I think Murray is one of 2 candidates that could go first overall. I think it's either him or Nick Bosa. I think it really depends on what new Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury thinks about the whole Josh Rosen situation and whether or not they want to take a chance on Kyler Murray when they already drafted a quarterback in the first round last year. But yeah, I think it's one of the two, and it really just comes down to what Cliff Kingsbury thinks is the best fit for him and his team.
Yeah, I also believe that Kyler Murray will go first overall, even though I don't think that he should go first overall. He's just one of those players that kind of fits Kingsbury's kind of system, because Kingsbury has never stepped up to the NFL level in this kind of situation. And, you know, with that kind of quarterback, like that scrambling quarterback style offense that he's ran throughout his periods in college, I think that Kyler Murray will go first overall. But second question, what team is most likely to trade up in this year's draft?
Well, Steve, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. I think they are going to take the number 1 overall pick off of the Arizona Cardinals' hands. I think that Kyler Murray does fit Cliff Kingsbury's air raid style of offense, like you were saying before. But I think they are confident in Josh Rosen. I think they truly believe that he is their franchise quarterback. So I think the Miami Dolphins are gonna. I think they might have to pull like a Ricky Williams trade and just trade all their picks this year just to move to the number 1 draft spot for Kyler Murray.
I've been hearing a lot about the Oakland Raiders and how much John Gruden and their new general manager Mike Mayock love Kyler Murray. I think if there is a team that's going to trade up for that number 1 pick, I do think it is going to be the Oakland Raiders, especially with 3 first-round picks in this year's draft. In your back pocket, it just opens up a lot of opportunities there. So I could see them. I could see the Eagles just because of Howie Roseman likes to make moves. And also I could see the Patriots just because if they want to, they'll find a way to. They always do.
The one team I was thinking was the Washington Redskins. And I think they might trade up with possibly the Jets. I know the Jets are shopping that 3rd overall pick. But I actually have in my little mock draft that I created that Haskins goes number 3 to the Washington Redskins.
Wow.
And, with Alex Smith being out, he's almost certainly to be out for the following year. And they kind of need they need a quarterback at this point. Mm-hmm. And I really think that Haskins could really fit that system well and could really be the new, big man on campus in Washington. So, the third question, who is your favorite draft prospect this year?
Will, would you like to go first on this
Yeah,
one?
sure. I'll take it away for Dowski for a sec. Mine has got to be DK Metcalf, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. He had an unbelievable combine, one of the most impressive combines I've ever seen in my entire life. He's 6'4". I don't think there's a shred of fat on that guy's body. He's literally tailor-made for the NFL is what it looks like. He reminds me of Calvin Johnson. I can't wait to see who this guy goes to and where he plays. Without a doubt, it's DK Metcalf for me.
I like your take, Will, but I'm going to go to the other side of the ball. I'm going to go to edge out of Kentucky, Josh Allen. Projected to go number 3 overall, I think, right now. But I see a lot of Von Miller in this guy. This guy had 17 sacks in SEC play. We're talking the best conference in college football, SEC play. 17 sacks. I think this guy's a franchise-altering edge. He could come into any system, and he can just absolutely get to any quarterback at any system.
I completely agree. Josh Allen has been my favorite player ever since I saw him play against Penn State in the bowl game. He just looked dominant, and he can play standing up. He can get down in 3 technique, 4 technique. It's honestly insane what this kid can do. And I think you hit the nail on a coffin. Khalil Mack was really the first player I picked out. You know, not really a high known name coming into this year's draft. But then slowly but surely just keeps on rising and rising above the occasion. And I think Josh Allen could really be a perennial Pro Bowl player.
How about the defensive line class in this year's draft? There's so many great edge rushers. Unbelievable.
There's going to be a ridiculous amount of edges picked in the first round this year.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely the best defensive line class I've seen probably ever. And it's going to be really interesting to see where a lot of these guys go. But next question will be, who is going to be this year's draft steal?
Well, Steve, I'm going to have to go with N'Keal Harry, wide receiver out of Arizona State. I see a lot of Juju Smith-Schuster in this guy. He's 6'2", 228 pounds. He's 2-time first-team Pac-12. Very talented downfield threat. He's very hard to tackle. Once he gets the ball in his hands, it's really hard to bring him down. He scores lots of touchdowns running the ball in as opposed to catching it in the end zone. So I could really see this guy having a huge impact on whatever NFL team decides to give him a chance in this year's draft.
For me, I'm going with Darrell Henderson, running back out of Memphis, leading rusher in college football last year, had almost 2,000 yards on the ground, well over 2,000 scrimmage yards. Great acceleration. He's amazing at finding the hole. I think he's the most explosive running back in the draft, whether it be Bryce Love or Josh Jacobs. I think he's more explosive than both of them. And he reminds me a lot of Christian McCaffrey. He's great at catching out of the backfield. He's got that big play factor. He can stretch the field. He can help. He's like a gadget, but he's so much better than that. I think whoever drafts Darrell Henderson is going to be very happy.
I also picked a running back. I went with Miles Sanders from Penn State. I kind of think of him as like a mini Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of the workouts that Saquon did during his last year at Penn State. And I think a name that wasn't really talked about his last year, but he could be a very explosive player. And, I mean, Penn State, they had an okay season, but I think that Miles Sanders, he could be something special, and especially since he's projected late second round, early third round, and he could be kind of like an Alvin Kamara that he's drafted in that third round and could really explode out of the scene in the NFL. But the last question, who will be this year's draft bust?
All right, Steve. So when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking, man, there's going to be a lot of guys in this draft they're going to be bust for sure. But I'm looking at the kingfish right here. I'm looking who's got the most potential to be a bust in the 2019 NFL draft. Well, Steve, I'm going with quarterback Kyler Murray. The odds are all against this guy. He's 5'10", 195 pounds. He chose football over baseball, even though he's guaranteed to the future, the glory in baseball. He decided to risk it and go in football. It's literally storybook writing right here. I think if things don't work out for Kyler Murray, he does have a future in the MLB. But think of it, like if say he's sick of getting hit after 2-3 years in the NFL, he's like, all right, screw this, I'm going to baseball. That's a bust right there. You take him first overall in the draft and he's going out the door in 3 years. Big risk taking Kyler Murray number 1 overall, but I still do think he's going to go number 1 overall.
I'm going to go with another quarterback. Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins is my pick. This guy, when I watch his combine, he seems flat-footed. He doesn't seem too mobile. He's got a cannon for an arm, don't get me wrong. And he seems like he's tailor-made to play at the college level. But in the NFL, things are just so much faster. I feel like he's not going to be able to catch up. He reminds me of Jameis Winston. I think he has a lot of talent, but I don't see him being a more than subpar NFL quarterback.
I went on the defensive line. I'm going with Ed Oliver from Houston. Entering the season, he's kind of like a little Heisman candidate type player, but throughout the season just didn't impress me whatsoever. And like, I know his tape is not that bad, but he's projected as a top 10 pick, and I really don't see top 10 pick in him. I see maybe late first round pick, especially with that altercation with the coaches halfway during the season. He was a little injury prone throughout the season as well, but there's just something about Ed Oliver that just rubs me the wrong way, and I don't think that he should be drafted anywhere near the top of the draft.
He's got a little Ndamukong Suh kind of persona going on.
Yeah, he does.
A little hothead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that will do it from us. We'll have to see what happens next Thursday, but that will do it from us. We'll be right back right after this break.
Wow. Lots of people going to a lot of different teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyler Murray's going to go to the Cardinals. You don't know who that is, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go Stillers.
Word up. But we're going to keep things going. As you can see, we're going to play some WWE 2K18 Big Hit versus Press Start. Let's get into it.
What is going on, guys? Today we're having Press Start and the Big Hit fight each other in WWE 2K18. I believe it is 2K18.
It sure is.
It sure is.
Awesome.
There we go. I'm Ben. This is
I'm Steven.
and we're about to announce what goes on in this match.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first matchup, we got Will and we got Hunter. Will representing Press Start. Hunter representing the Big Hit. Hey, haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate.
And potatoes gonna potato.
Fun fact: Randy Orton is not the guy that says brother. That
All
is
right.
Hulk Hogan. Oh, looks like the match is about to start. It looks like the crowd is very excited. You could tell by the cutscene.
Oh, now we got some excitement.
Up, the lights went on. They're standing up. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that man right there. The ref is just watching. He's not really doing much. Oh, he's running. Oh, something just happened. Look, it appears we're in a tutorial. Whoa, oh my God, his back. Oh, he just slid into the ring.
Whoa! Well, we got a winner.
What? All right, winner.
Okay, so I guess we're restarting.
All right.
I don't know why the names
Oh.
are on the opposite people, but
Yeah, you already have a choice to do the finisher, but will he do the finisher? Looks like they're still waddling, doing the,
Dang.
RKO! That was a meme a couple years ago, but nobody seems to remember. Oh, looks like he's holding X. Oh, he's holding X. Randy Orton, the winner with his famous RKO. Oh, looks like KFC is in the background. Mad respect. Oh, there's a kid in there. What is the kid doing?
so I guess this is the third fight,
This
right?
is
It's
third.
1-1. 1-1 right
Stuff's
now.
happening. Oh, more punches. The ref is not dressed as I would imagine a ref to be dressed. He kind of looks like a waiter.
Yeah.
He's the equivalent of when you have to wait at 7, but you have a wrestling match to host at 6. Looks like they're have him pinned. Resiliency. Didn't know I was going to say that. Oh,
that's
Sim
it.
Sarah won.
All right.
Congratulations, Sim Sarah. I don't know who that was, but
Yeah, so
It's 1-1 now. The first
Wait.
one didn't count, so I didn't know if you were off. No, first one didn't count. We didn't even get in the ring yet. Alright, it's 1-1 then.
oh, did a spin move. I don't think that was. Oh, there was a kick. You never kick a man on the ground. That is disrespectful.
I mean, as far as I know, whoever wins this match wins the contest. Am I right?
That is true. We are getting the signals that it is true. Oh, he's being dragged. Oh, wow. Look at that.
That was a late reaction.
That was a very late reaction. And they're finally figuring out. That girl is buoying her. Oh, in the back. Wow. What is happening? He's leaving. He doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. Yeah. Whoa, dived right into the fence. There's no way he should have survived that, but he in fact survived that. Oh. The fans are asking for someone to be hit with stairs. TLC, that's a channel on television. That's all I know. Tables, ladders, chairs. All right, thank you, audience.
TLC, I think, is the learning channel, right?
Yeah, there's a
learning channel?
Sister Wives and all that.
Yeah. My Strange Addiction, I think, is on there
Oh,
too.
I love that show so much.
Yeah.
Look at that. The audience in the game is going crazy. Oh. Oh my God. There is no way this man is a man anymore, but more or less a puddle. They're just still fighting, still going crazy. Yeah, that guy, there's no way these guys are making it out of here without an injury.
Oh, is that does red mean that he has brain damage?
Sarah? Sincara?
Sincara?
Oh, looks like both are yellow now. Sincara is definitely. Oh, Randy Orton's the winner. Look at that.
All right, awesome. So Randy Orton wins the first game. I believe that was Hunter.
Yeah, that was Hunter.
Yeah, so one win for the big hit, 0 for press start. That was an interesting battle.
I was quite amused.
Don't know what you did, but you won.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome back. We're in the third matchup for Big Hit versus Press Start. Representing Press Start in this matchup is Natalie Sten as Becky Lynch. And Ben, who's Mike Costa playing as for Big Hit?
Ah, yes. Took me a minute to figure out her name. I'm pretty sure it's Maurice.
Yeah, it's spelled Mary S-E, so
Maurice.
Maurice?
Yeah,
There's no accent mark, so I'm not sure. But it's going definitely good so far.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch is getting up, doing her thing. Oh, pinned to the corner.
Yeah, stuff is happening.
Yeah. This is the first female-on-female match we have.
I never passed the eye exam.
Man, she gave her the Bane. She gave her the Bane from Dark Knight Rises. Just your body. Done.
Bane.
Oh, and Becky, is that Becky outside the ring? I see.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Maurice is trying to get in the ref's face.
Yeah, she is taunting or cheering.
Dude, do you
the
see
crowd.
Maurice? She is piping it up.
Yeah.
All right, Becky Lynch. Oh, just accepted a whole lot of pain. Here it comes,
looks like it's happening.
and my body hurts.
Discount RKO.
My body. The audience thought I said my butt hurts. It does not.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking, Mike.
These chairs are quite comfortable, for your information.
I'm not even sure. Oh, and Maurice is going in for a pin.
Will it happen?
Good old arm bar.
Oh, it looks like.
Becky Lynch finds her way out of that.
Oh, no. She's escaping herself, it looks like. Oh, wait.
I don't think she's escaping anything.
No.
We got a hold.
Something's
Two.
happening. Look at that.
What?
It is
A last-minute
over.
save out of Becky Lynch.
That had to have been our quickest match ever in this.
That was quick.
Yeah. I don't even think it's over. No.
She almost so that she can put her in an arm bar. Break that arm. Snap it.
That looks like it hurts.
She is not gonna feel. She's just not gonna feel good in the morning. It's just done.
Yeah, she might as well just retire now.
Yeah. I didn't even mention that Stephen Landing went to get warmed up. I believe he's going to be in our fourth matchup. I just subbing in for him. Hope Stephen's doing well.
Oh, I thought you were.
Pretty sure he's in the booth.
Steven.
I mean, if you want to call me that, that's
All
fine.
right.
That's we do whatever we got to here.
Yeah.
But Becky Lynch is apparently doing nothing to save herself.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say the names in hopes that I.
You know, I just
mispronounce.
realized I keep saying that, and
Yeah.
it's Maurice is getting all the damage. It looks like.
Yeah. No, you got this with the names. I don't want to risk that.
Yeah.
It looks like. I'm pretty sure that's Becky. She's taking a timeout.
Yeah.
And
Becky Lynch is exhausted.
oh wait, something's happening. There was a counter. Oh, right onto the ground.
goodness. That's about the 16th time that's happened this match.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes
Oh,
a
wait,
pin.
it's happening. Will it happen?
Oh,
No.
getting out of it earlier than the first one, ironically, even after taking a. Oh,
Oh, wait, they got him in it.
oh my
Kinda
goodness,
hit,
that
right?
is.
I don't think that's legal.
I'll tell you what, Becky Lynch, ouch, just ouch.
This could.
Oh,
I am
but I'll tell you what,
practically
Maurice
down.
is finally getting her. Oh, never mind. I take that back. She is giving the work.
Looks like there's a. Oh no.
Oh,
Looks like we're
I
seeing.
just,
Oh,
I'm just surprised Becky Lynch has not been pinned yet. She keeps getting out of it right
that
before
is
the
a-
third tap.
Oh.
Oh
Yeah,
goodness,
that's. Oh, her leg.
man, Lynch's chances of going to airborne school just went to 0. That's ridiculous.
In the house. Oh, I can't get that.
Oh, wait.
Oh my goodness.
If the ref had physics, he'd be down on the ground right now.
Yeah, absolutely, but he's just. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, wait.
Oh, pass 1, pass 2.
Well, if I messed up the name, and it was the easier name.
We messed up the name that entire match.
Really?
We were calling the blonde person Becky Lynch the whole time. How about that?
Oh,
Well, this just in, me and Ben are the worst announcers on the planet.
it's okay.
But we were saying, Becky Lynch, you're getting the work the whole time, and then it goes, Becky Lynch wins, and he goes, well, we've made a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We don't know WWE here, because we only cover real sports and real games here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying WWE's fake, I'm just saying, well. All right, starting off, we're in our 4th and last matchup here with the Big Hit versus Press Start in WWE 2K18. Earlier, I took the spot for Stephen Langdon Jr. as the announcer. I am Jake Spagnol. As always, for the whole time, the best announcer in the whips, Ben Huddle.
Yes.
So we got Steve Langdon as the Big Show. And we're going with Kane for Mike Urban. So Mike representing Press Start, and Steven, a producer from the Big Hit, representing his show. All right. Looks like we've got a Hell in a Cell match. Big Show versus Kane.
All right. Let's not mix up the names this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not saying we didn't. Not that we did that last time.
That's
not
true.
at all. Not
No.
at all, Ben.
We didn't do that.
No, we've never done it. Just put that on a mixtape.
Oh, we're in Boston.
Yeah, Boston, Massachusetts for this Hell in a Cell match. Big Show, such a large man. Looks like he ate my entire body for breakfast, and he's still hungry. All right, there we go. Now we got Kane coming out. Just getting right into it. Big Show is just gonna let Kane walk up on him.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoa, he just did a barrel roll.
And Mike Urbans will throw the Big Show, aka Steven, into the ring. Big Show a little slow to get up. Kane moving at the speed of 2 turtles. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
And the Big Show
Yeah.
is just about done with this situation.
This. Oh, just moves everywhere, I
Oh,
guess.
and a little
wait,
cutscene.
there's a-
Oh,
Oh,
and the Big Show is going to take a big one to the dome on that one.
yeah. I will tell you, this match is just
That-
completely
His
flipping
kneecaps.
sides.
Oh, we got our first pin.
wait.
Oh, it already pushed out.
no.
Big Show's not having any of that today.
But he's still up.
Oh,
look, another pin.
right back to it.
Wow.
1,
Back-to-back pins.
2.
And is it possible?
This was going to be a quick one for a second there.
Oh. The other.
Oh, and the
wait.
Big Show is going to destroy the 3rd grader, aka the ref.
Return to
Kane
the
is
ring.
just
so-
not having it. Oh, but now the Big Show is going to show him what it's like.
Yeah.
Oh, walk it up. Goodness. My own spine hurts. Oh, we're going for pin number 4.
Yeah.
1,
Is it-
2.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. He's just going to let Kane keep punching him in the chest, in the gut. Like, that's
his-
fine. Oh.
Oh.
And the Big
Plot
Show with a
twist.
good counter, tossing him over the shoulder like some salt for some good luck. Or bad luck. I'm not sure how superstitions work. Oh,
Looks
goodness.
like the Big Show is in
Oh,
fact
looks
crying.
like you gotta really rotate that stick so that way you can. I think that's what you're doing.
Yeah, Kane.
Submit.
Oh. Did
Oh, goodness. Really grabbing him by the beard.
they
Oh,
just suffocate? But it looks like Kane's the
all right.
winner.
And
I don't know what happened, but
Yeah.
well, you and me both, Steven. I'm not really sure. That was some pretty solid gameplay, but that will do it for the 4th matchup.
Yeah.
And with a 3-1 in each matchup, Press Start has beaten the Big Hit in WWE 2K18. Well, thank you so much. Stay tuned for what comes next. TLC, right?
It's like Anime for rednecks.
Pretty much.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm all about it. I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
Well, coming up, we got something I actually know what we're talking about. It's called news and entertainment.
Yeah. All about video games. About that PlayStation 5. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another edition of the Press Start News Roundup. I'm your host, Jake, and we have some very exciting stories to cover this week. From PlayStation releasing the specs on this next generation of its console, to some video game movies that are in the works, and some industry news that is attached to the Notre Dame Cathedral. So let's not waste another minute and just dive right into it. Starting off the news today, we have new consoles on the rise. Xbox has had 3 renditions of their 2013 system, the Xbox One, since its release. The next edition will be a disc-less version of the Xbox One S, which is set to be priced at $250. For players who prefer to download their games digitally, there won't be any worries about backwards compatibility. This new rendition also comes with the announcement of their new Game Pass Ultimate, which obviously is no coincidence. The loss of the disc drive is why $50 will be taken off the top of the price, which begs the question, is Microsoft moving from the physical copies of their systems? That's an answer we'll just have to wait and see on. However, PlayStation put out the details and specs of the PlayStation 5. Debatably, the biggest new hardware addition to this new system is the solid-state drive within it. This will allow for loading times to be shortened rather significantly and allow rendering for various maps and game environments to lessen as well. Better CPUs and GPUs and a large focus on audio improvements are also big focuses for this next-gen console. At this moment, it's reported to come out in earliest as 2020. In DLC news, Joker, the main protagonist from Persona 5, finally made his appearance in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Featuring a gauge that fills up when he takes damage similar to Cloud's, Joker gains the assistance of Arsene automatically when this gauge fills. It also fills up when Joker holds less stocks than that of his opponent. Arsene increases Joker's strength and changes his normal stand-alone moveset. Without Arsene, the Trickster has a solid counter as a down special and many aerial attacks featuring some firearms. All in all, he's a solid character that can really take control of the fight if you know what you are doing. Some general drawbacks I've noticed from watching friends test him with many different characters is that he's not strong when it comes to the heavy characters, particularly in Bowser and Ganon. If it wasn't for Arsene, his base strength and moveset doesn't seem like it would be enough. That's just my personal thoughts, but Joker wasn't the only addition to come in Smash this week. The 3.0 update came along with a stage builder as well. Players will also be able to share their creations with other players. In a very funny yet childish update, the developers of Smash created a software that prevents you from drawing certain shapes within the stage builder. I won't go into detail, but just use the sense of humor of a middle school boy and I'm sure you'll be able to figure out what shape is being blocked. Moving on, we have an official release date for the Minecraft movie. Whether this is something we as the consumer really wanted or not, it's going to be coming on March 4th, 2022. The director behind making the film will be Peter Solit. The bare minimum we heard about this movie is that we will follow the path of a teenage girl and some random group of unlikely adventurers who have to stop the Ender Dragon, the well-known boss from the game itself. With a rather unknown director, I'm not sure how this movie is going to perform. However, we have 3 years before we see if it's going to be a blockbuster. Yes, I did just make that pun. But all jokes aside, I'm sure that it will stack up against its peers. For the final story of today, we have a sad but positive side story around the Notre Dame Cathedral. As I'm sure most of you heard about this already, but the Notre Dame Cathedral in France, which stood for nearly a millennium, was almost burnt down completely this past week. A huge landmark and piece of history without question has received around $1 billion to rebuild it. But what does that have to do with video games, I'm sure you're asking? Because it has to do with Ubisoft. The game developer has donated €500,000 to help with the restoration of the cathedral. On top of that, it's honoring that donation by allowing Assassin's Creed Unity free for PC players, celebrating history and just gaming, but in the modern day. And that's the note I want to leave on for this edition of the news. As always, we'd love to hear back from you. What other characters do you think we should see in Smash? And are you excited about the PlayStation 5? Be sure to let us know on all of our social media at PressStart, IUP-TV. And subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, where all of our episodes, skits, segments, and extended content make its way to. And check out The Big Hit. They're one of the fellow shows here on the station and collaborate with us on some great content for this here crossover episode. Until next time, I'm Jake, and this has been the Press Start News Roundup. See ya.
How about that PlayStation 5?
Yeah, the solid state drive, dude, I won't have to wait for anything anymore. Just all be rendered, all be set, I'll be good.
Yeah, I can't wait to take out a personal loan to get that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably going to cost half of my tuition and then some. So.
But anyways, Up next, we got our friend Aiden, who's going to give you some esports. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to The Big Hit. My name's Elliot Hicks, and this week we're going to be talking about esports. Wait, esports? Katie Doss, do you know anything about esports? Neither do I, but it's a good thing that Press Start's Aiden Shaw is here, and he'll tell you all about what's going on in the world of esports. Let's
I heard
have a
my
listen.
name. Welcome to this week's Esports News Roundup. I'm your host, Aiden. Let's get into it. Since last episode, not too many things have been happening, but we've had our fan favorite team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, have been eliminated from... Wait, that's not esports, is it?
No.
No. Well, at least my friends with The Big Hit will let you know about that. So, we have a lot of scores to catch up on and follow up with the LCS as well as a rule changing for Overwatch League and how they do tiebreakers. For the League of Legends, the Spring Split Finals took place on Saturday, April 13th, when the first place team, Team Liquid, won the LCS Playoffs tournament going 3-2 against Team Solo Mid. For the first time, my prediction of who's going to win it came true, with Team Liquid keeping their first place position throughout the entire Spring Split. Can we get a little score box of all my correct predictions and my wrong ones, like right around here or something? I don't know, maybe over here, who knows? For the Overwatch League, they made a new rule change to how they'll be determining tiebreakers in the playoffs. They'll be determining on what maps people will have won in and how the maps will be scored. The Overwatch League is also adding a new character, Baptiste. Baptiste is the new healer coming in that can also dish out a lot of damage when needed. Along with Baptiste comes the new Paris map, which will be in the league's rotation of which maps they'll be using in competitive. This is quite a coincidence since Overwatch has the new Paris team for the first time this year coming in. We also have a new character introduced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Joker. The new character is from the popular RPG Persona 5, and we'll have to see how this character will perform in tournaments. And it seems like fans are already falling in love with this character as the game he's from is very popular. That's all the time we have for this week's esports. I'm your host, Aiden. We have Elliot right here and Katie with a big hit. Thanks for watching.
Not a lot happened, but I mean, Joker was in Smash.
Hey, I'm happy there. Up next, why don't you tell us about what's up next,
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah. So for Scrap for Your City, that's what's up next. Big Hit members did a tournament. Everyone defended their own city. And this is the last matchup between Hunter Mitchell, who's going to defend Denver, Colorado, against Jake Taylor, defending Miami, Florida. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the last round of Scrap for Your City. Judging today will be myself, Jake Spagnol, to my right, Jeff Hart, and to my left, Joey Crispin. For this matchup, we have Hunter Mitchell defending Denver, Colorado, and all of its sports, going against Jake Taylor in Miami, Florida. So we're going to get this started. We'll go ahead, we'll go with Jeff. If you want to read the first question, please.
Sure. Gentlemen, for your first question, what does the future look like for your city?
You know what? Miami is looking bright, baby. You know why? I'll start with this. Ice hockey. It's looking bright in ice hockey. It's supposed to be a Canadian sport. No, Miami's killing it. You know, they have two young players with scored over 90 points this past season. Alexander Barkov, one of the most underrated players, voted NHL poll, PA poll this season. Johnny Huberdeau. They have a great veteran goalie in Roberto Luongo. Keith Yandel, their defenseman, was the fifth highest scoring defenseman in the NHL. They have great players throughout the board. Great defenseman Aaron Ekblad. And they just hired Joe Quenneville, three-time Stanley Cup champion. Chicago shipped them out way too early. You saw what happened to Chicago when they shipped them out of town. They went down the drain. They thought it was coaching. No, it clearly wasn't. Joe Quenneville's complete success with the Chicago Blackhawks, and he's bringing it back to the Florida Panthers. And we're going over to the Miami Heat. Miami, they're losing Dwayne Wade, but I think this is a good thing. You know, they haven't had a losing season in a while. This past season didn't make the playoffs. However, I think the focus this season was a lot on Dwayne Wade and a lot on his going out and his farewell tour. I think it's good to focus away from Dwayne Wade. I think it's good to go back and kind of rebuild your team. Throw everything else out the window, get nice young players, and go up. I mean, the Miami Dolphins have the 3rd highest cap space in the NFL, 13th draft pick. They can kind of get anybody they really want if they really needed to. They can move up in the draft. They can pay a player if they want to come to Miami. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, a great veteran presence on that team. You saw what he could do for Tampa Bay. I mean, he won them a decent amount of games, and I think that's good, especially if they draft a quarterback or if they want to pick up a quarterback. I think that's great to have him there. The Miami Marlins. You know, they're a little bit in a slump, but they're rebuilding. They have money to spend. They're on the come up. I mean, who wouldn't want to come play for Miami? It's a great stadium to be in. So Miami in general is just on the come up, baby.
I disagree with 90% of what you said. First, I'm going to go into attack Miami a little bit with what you said. The Heat are the 2nd oldest team in the NBA. So they have their best player is old as dirt. He's leaving. He's not coming back. After that, they have nobody. They've Dion Waiters. They don't have a future. They don't have any high draft picks, so they can't build a team in the draft. They don't have the cap room to go out and get a top free agent, so they have no future. The Miami Marlins are a joke. You'd be better off to go with some Double-A baseball team than to go with the Miami Marlins. They have no future. Anytime they've had any decent player, they've shipped them off. They shipped off Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton. And that was just in the last couple of years. They've shipped off these MVP candidates. They don't have the draft capital, nor do they have assets to move that far up in the draft, like you said. So, yeah, they have a 13th pick, but the Broncos have a better pick than that. The Broncos have the 10th pick. They have a Super Bowl winning quarterback who, although he's not the best quarterback in the world, has never had any offensive weapons. They have a really good offense on that team, and with Joe Flacco, I look to them to make the playoffs next year.
It's weird because they lost more games. They had a worse record last season than Miami, so keep going.
They had a worse record, but they didn't have a QB. Miami shipped off Tannehill. They shipped off their entire offense. They cut half their wide receiver core this last offseason. They are gutting the team. The Broncos have a better future ahead of them right now. The Denver Nuggets, one of the biggest up-and-coming, they're not even up-and-coming at this point. They're one of the best teams in the NBA now, and they have one of the younger rosters in the NBA now. They have a young star. They are young stars in Murray and Jokic. They have so much potential there with the Rockets. And the Colorado Avalanche, they have a quality forward group. They have great ownership, and they win every year. They are a playoff team. When was the last time Miami was even a playoff contender? The Heat almost made an 8 seed in the worst conference in basketball. They couldn't even get an 8 seed this year.
It seems to me that you know way more about the city of Miami than you did Denver. You just really kind of just said everything about Miami and nothing about Denver.
I was countering your points because Miami has
without
one of
making
the
your own point.
The Miami Heat have one of the Miami Heat in basketball, one of the worst futures.
The Denver Nuggets, you said they're on the come up. Well, it took them 52 years to get here. So I mean,
they haven't been in the NBA for 52 years.
How long?
They've been in the NBA since the early 80s, late 70s. Even if they have been around for 52 years, they've had quality stars. They have a
quality
future.
Stars, 0 championships.
The question right now is future. It doesn't matter whether they were in the league.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
so
you're bringing up Miami's old players. Bring up Dwayne Wade. He's gone. So why Dwayne? He's not even going to be on the team next year.
What I was saying was their best player last year was Dwayne Wade, who is leaving. They don't have any star players beyond. They didn't have any good players this year beyond Dwayne Wade. Is what I was saying there. The Colorado Avalanche have a great young core. Not to mention the Rockies, who just locked up Nolan Arenado, arguably the 3rd best hitter in baseball, to a big deal this past in the beginning of the year. So they have Trevor Story. They have a team to build around.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because
the Marlins don't have anybody to build around right now.
Like I mentioned, the Florida Panthers have 2 players under the age of 26 who had scored over 90 points. Colorado Avalanche had only 1. Keith Yandel was the 5th highest scoring defenseman in the league. Colorado Avalanche wasn't even close. I mean, Tyson Barrie was not even in the discussion, probably 25th in the league, ranks among defensemen. And like I mentioned too, they got Joe Quenneville, a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, winning coach. Last time you saw him, he took the Chicago Blackhawks, the #1 seed in the Western Conference. They got swept that round. They had a mediocre half a season. They fired him. He's still got a lot left in the tank.
When was the last time that the Blackhawks went to the Stanley Cup? The early 2010s? In the last...
They won the Stanley Cup in 2015.
Okay. Forgot about that one.
That'll be it for the first question. And by unanimous vote, Denver wins the first question. That is 1 point towards Hunter. And for the next question, I'm going to have Jacob Spagno read it out for everyone.
Thank you, Jeff. So with the second question, gentlemen, we want to hear who is the best coach in your city's history. This is worth 2 points. Hunter, since you just won, go ahead and start.
Mike Shanahan. The entire modern NFL offense is based on Mike Shanahan's offense. That's pretty much all you need to say. He's won 2 Super Bowls out of 2. He started in his 40s, so he started late, coached 10 years in Denver, and pretty much every single year he coached, they were a contender. If not a contender, a playoff team. Even after Elway left, everybody thought, oh, Denver's not going to do anything. They made the AFC Championship game multiple times after Elway left, when it looked like their entire franchise was done. So, yeah.
Don Shula, coached for Miami for 25 years. He had 2 losing seasons in those 25 years, been to 5 Super Bowls, won 2 back-to-back. He's the only coach to ever perfect a team in any major league sport. He's the only perfect coach. He's the only one to find out how to do it perfectly, and that's that. 25 seasons, 2 losing seasons, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins, a perfect season.
If you look at the numbers,
he won over 250 games.
If you coach 25 years, you better win a lot of games. I'm not saying Don Shula is not a great coach.
In his first 10 years,
but if you look
he went to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 of them and perfected 1. So Mike Shanahan's first 10 years, compared to his first 10 years, we'll just compare it like that.
If he came in his first couple of years and won a Super Bowl, his first 2 years, that's not his team. It's the same argument with Mike Tomlin. He didn't win with his team.
Who's Mike Tomlin? What's Mike Tomlin have to do with this?
It's the same argument.
It's Mike Shanahan. You're talking about Mike Shanahan.
No, I'm saying people in Pittsburgh say that Mike Tomlin wasn't good because he didn't win with his team.
What do people in Denver say?
What?
It's about what people in Denver are saying.
Okay. Mike Shanahan had, winning percentage-wise, very similar career to Don Shula.
And how so?
What?
How so?
Don Shula had a winning percentage of .64 in
25 years.
In Miami. Mike Shanahan coached a lot less years, so yeah, he's not going to have 250 wins, but he had a .62 winning percentage and came in with a team that all they had was a veteran, an old quarterback when he got there, and nothing else, and he built that team. He built a 2-time Super Bowl champion team. So for 2 coaches that had close to the same winning percentage, you have to look at other things. And
like a perfect season.
Or you look at Don Shula in the modern NFL, his schemes aren't there. If you look at Mike Shanahan, the entire modern NFL offense is built off of him. He has done more for the modern NFL and for the NFL that we are all watching today than Don Shula has.
So he's done more for the NFL than done for the city of Denver. If that's basically what you're saying.
No, I'm saying he's had more impact overall in both Denver because
5 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 in a row.
Do you know what I see when I see 5 Super Bowl appearances and 2 wins? A below 500 winning percentage.
All right, Matt, you remember that when you try to defend John Elway.
Well, I'm not saying that Elway had a great winning percentage, but what I'm saying is, as a coach, he couldn't get it done. Elway went to the Super Bowl. I'll get into that later.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing. You just ruined yourself for John Elway because he went 5 times, so you only won 2.
He didn't have a team when he went the first time. When he had a team, when he had a good, one of the better coaches in the modern NFL, in Mike Shanahan, he won the Super Bowl. He was undefeated in the Super Bowl.
Don Shula was undefeated in a whole season.
But he didn't build that team.
All right, gentlemen. Now with that, that's going to conclude the second question. It's a wipe across the board. It's Don Shula with Miami. So with that, that is 2 points for Jake Taylor, so he's in the lead by 1 point. So we're going to go ahead with Joey Chrisman here to get the third question underway.
Now, this is for 2 points. Who is the one player that defines your city?
The one player that defines my city is a player who stuck with their franchise for more than half its entire history, and that's Dwayne Wade. He's brought him 3 championships. He's only ever had 3 losing seasons this past one, but that's just complete and utter success. Not only does he represent Miami as just being successful, he kind of resembles it as a tourist attraction. You know, everybody wants to go to Miami, vacation Miami. Well, where the players wanted to go when Dwayne Wade was at his best? Miami. That's exactly what happened. All the good players in the NBA wanted to go and play with Dwayne Wade, and I think that's the best thing that represents Miami. Everybody wants to go to Miami, you know, and be successful, and that's exactly what happened when Dwayne Wade was playing in town. He's brought nothing but success. He's a 13-time NBA All-Star. He can play both sides of the ball, considering he won 3 defensive player championships. MVPs on defense. You can't deny it. You can't even say like he won the other because of a super team. He won before the super team was made, and he won that Finals MVP. He himself had built the modern day Miami Heat. He built the modern day super team. He all on his back, and I think that's the best part. He's one of the most he is top 5 in every statistical category in his position, not to mention that he is part of some of the most iconic plays in our generation of basketball.
First off, Miami Heat team was not built by Dwayne Wade. That team was built by Pat Riley. To even say that Dwayne Wade built that team is absurd. Secondly, Dwayne Wade can't win on his own.
Oh, he did.
No, he didn't. He had to have Shaq. He had to recruit one of the best big men, arguably the best big man of all time, to come to his city.
So he recruited him, but he didn't build the team.
No, somebody else had. What I'm saying is somebody else had to come in to win that championship. Dwayne Wade didn't win that on his own. For Dwayne Wade to win his other 2 championships, LeBron and Bosh had to come to town. The difference there is he didn't even make the finals without any of those players. Yeah, he made the finals with a couple other great players and super teams, but he wasn't the general manager, so he didn't build the super team.
That's what I said. I said the players wanted to go and build and play with them.
Pat Riley built the team. Pat Riley recruited the team. He couldn't win on his own. He hasn't even made a conference final without another player. So
no, there's just 5. He has to have 4 teammates on the court with him at all time. No wonder he didn't go. What, is he going to play 1v5 and go by himself?
The difference is John Elway in the 80s had no talent. He had not a single Hall of Famer on those teams, and yet he led them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he didn't win.
But he still had success. He went.
So did Dwayne Wade. He's been in the playoffs every single. He's only had 3 losing seasons ever.
He's never made the conference finals by himself, let alone the NBA finals. And he's playing.
No one's made anything by himself in a team sport. What kind of ludicrous argument is that? He's never made it by himself. No crap, because it's a team sport. No one's ever done that. John Elway doesn't throw the ball and catch it himself. What kind of ludicrous statement is that?
John Elway made the Super Bowl multiple years with a bunch of cadavers.
Yeah, and he was playing defense. He was kicking that ball. He was winning. He was rushing 3 touchdowns in the game.
When he was winning Super Bowls,
he won 2. He won 2 Super Bowls in the last 2 seasons.
When he was going to Super Bowls,
it took him 16 years to play his best game.
In the 80s, when he was going to Super Bowls, he had statistically one of the worst defenses in the league, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. No QB has ever been hit in the NFL more than John Elway. You might as well put me and you on their offensive line, and we could probably do better than some of those guys.
So why does John Elway represent the city of Denver?
He represents the city because he succeeds against all odds. Denver has had multiple championships where they haven't done anything. Like, the team hasn't done anything, but there have been
John Elway's touchdown to interception ratio in the Super Bowl is 3 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He lost for first 3 Super Bowls. The first one he ever won, his running back won MVP. He had a 19 passer rating in the Super Bowl. His average passer rating in the Super Bowl is 52. That is treacherous. It took him his entire career, 16 whole years, his entire career, just years and years of disappointment for the city of Denver. Oh, let's go, it's our year. Oh, Elway lets us down. Elway lets us down. Elway lets us down. Oh, Elway let us down again, but thank God for Davis, who finally saved us. Oh, the next year, he waited to his last game in the NFL to achieve what he's been waiting for the whole time. And you want to talk about statistics? Dan Marino, who's not even the best player in Miami, who's not even who I'm defending, has 10,000 more passing yards than John Elway, 120 more passing touchdowns than John Elway. Guess what? before when you were knocking Ryan Fitzpatrick has a better passer rating than John Elway.
John Elway has never had a team. When he had a good team, he had a good team for 3 years. In those 3 years, they had the best 3-year span in NFL history. Anybody,
so when John Elway had a good team,
even the Don Shula undefeated Dolphins did not have a better 3-year span than.
They went to 3 Super Bowls in a row.
What?
Won 2 of them.
But they didn't
and undefeated one of them.
54-10 in a 3-year span record. That's unheard of.
Listen,
nobody's come close to that.
So when John Elway has a great team around him, he's only won 2. When Dwayne Wade only has a great team around him, he's won 3.
John Elway only had a great team around him for 2 years and won 2 Super Bowls. Dwayne Wade had a great team around him for 5 years and won 3 NBA championships. He had the best team in the league 2 years, and they didn't win the finals.
I can't see how.
Dwayne Wade can't do it himself.
If John Elway didn't have a good team, how did his team make it to 3 Super Bowls? It was John Elway doing everything. Like I said, so many quarterbacks have better regular season statistics than him, playoff statistics are better than him, and the Super Bowl statistics are better than him. He obviously has to have a good defense, good everything.
Bringing in another future Hall of Famer for them to even get to the NBA conference, to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, you guys want to cut you off a little bit? Looks like we have a 2-1 for Denver. Won this round.
All right, gents. So with Hunter winning that last round, he's up to 3 points, and Taylor's at 2 points. And this last question is worth 5. So whoever gets this takes it all and wins Scrap for Your City. So your final question is, why is the opponent's city worse than yours? And why do you deserve to win Scrap for Your City?
When I think of Miami, I think of the beach. I think of the drug capital of the United States. I don't think of sports. Miami is not a sports town. Miami is a
Marijuana is legal in Colorado.
No.
It's in Denver. It is.
All of the cocaine that comes into the United States
comes to do with anything? Oh my God, I don't even know how you won last argument. When you name zero statistical evidence against anything, you're just saying, just downgrading Miami. You have zero statistical evidence to ever back up the fact that Denver is good.
What I'm saying is that when I think of Miami, when a lot of people think of Miami, they don't think of sports. Denver is sports.
No less championships in Miami. Denver is not sports. You couldn't name 4 players in the You could not name 4 players that ever played for the Colorado Avalanche.
What do you mean I can't name 4 players? Like that doesn't matter. Like
you know more drug dealers in Miami than you do athletes in Denver.
Denver is sports. Miami isn't thought of as a sports city. It is thought of as a vacation place. It is thought of as somewhere where somebody goes to have fun, not to go to win championships. Yeah, they've had, because of Don Shula, they had multiple championships. Right now, Miami is honestly one of the worst sports cities in America.
So
they haven't made a championship in how many years? How many years?
Since LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, 5 years.
Okay, so 5 years.
Dude, the Denver Nuggets have never won a championship in their entire franchise. The Colorado Rockies have never won a single World Series in their entire franchise. Mind you, the Miami Marlins did it twice in their first 10 years. The Colorado Rockies have been in the league for 27 years. Miami Marlins, 27 years. Colorado Rockies have 0 championships to show for it. The Marlins have 2. Listen, the city of Miami, I'm not even going to say the University of Miami, which represents the city a lot, and a lot of fans love to go to the Miami U game, and you can't be telling me that they're not a great team to watch. So I'm not even going to regard that. And still, this professional sports alone, the city of Miami has more championships than the city of Denver. So I can't see where you're coming with that. The only franchise in professional, the 4 major, are the Florida Panthers. The only team that never won a championship. Nuggets never won. Rockies never won. That's more than us. So I mean, if you look at it across the board, the Denver Nuggets have been in the league over 20 years more than the Miami Heat, and they have 0 championships to show for that. So I mean, that right there is alone. I'll give you the Avalanche and the Florida Panthers have been in the league the same amount of time. Avalanche won 2 in their first 5 years. Yeah, they had a great team, but that's still less than Miami's had, and I'm not even bringing in the University of Miami, which still is a huge thing. You can name all the iconic athletes alone in Miami. Look at Dan Marino. Like I said, Dan Marino, statistically, in the championship-wise, not as good as, didn't win as many as Elway, still way better statistically in the regular season. So you mean to tell me who had the worst team, Marino or Elway? Marino's putting up better numbers
It's not just history, though. History isn't the only thing that you can look at. If you have this argument 10 years in the future, the Panthers in the next 10 years.
Good thing we're not.
They're not, yeah. It is a good thing we're not because.
Yeah, because like, what's the point of having this argument 10 years in the future? No one knows what's going to happen this year. No one's going to happen. I know what happened, and what happened was more championships in Miami.
Denver has so much more potential. They have better teams now than Miami.
Look,
Miami doesn't have any teams right now. They have the Heat. Oh, they didn't even have a 500 record this year in the worst. They're playing right now. What you're not saying is they're playing in the worst conference in sports history.
Oh, wait, let me tell you.
The East has zero chance to win.
You said it's not about history. It's not about history. So let's just take our lifetime, for example. As a Denver fan in your lifetime, you've seen one championship. If I was a Miami fan in my lifetime, I would have seen 5. So we're not talking about history. It's not about then. It's not about now. It's about our lifetime. If you're a Denver fan in our lifetime, you've only seen 1.
First off, it would be.
No, I've seen 4.
You would see 4. I would see 2. But the difference is, Miami can't draft. Miami doesn't have a way to set up a future. Miami has no way. Miami's QB that they've drafted in the past 20 years. None of them are relevant. Tannehill is the most relevant player who has played in the Dolphins uniform. If they don't
play well, how come they had a better record than the Denver Broncos did this past season? If they can't draft, if they can't do anything right, I want to know.
Denver's coming off of making the Super Bowl 2 years.
Baseball won more championships than your baseball team. Riddle me that.
First off, we can't even talk about baseball.
Why is our
the
NBA
Miami
team won more than
Marlins are
yours?
the laughing stock of the MLB. Miami Marlins have zero. They are the definition of a Moneyball team.
They won 2 World Series.
You said they have
the
money
Rockies
to
won
spend.
0. The Rockies
you said
won
they
0.
have money to spend earlier. Their current owner, Derek Jeter, went to the team and immediately shipped their best player off to his former team for nothing. They didn't even get good prospects in the deal. They shipped off 2 perennial MVPs in the last couple seasons.
And the Denver Broncos and John Elway paid Brock Osweiler all that money, drafted Trevor Siemian.
They didn't pay Brock Osweiler that money. And then, they let Brock Osweiler walk to the Texans. They chose not to pay him because they knew he wasn't that good.
And then they paid Case Keenum and then realized Case Keenum wasn't worth anything, so they just got Joe Flacco.
They paid Case Keenum not that much money, and they shipped him off because he didn't perform. They got rid of the contract. They are being smart.
They have the losingest record in Super Bowl history.
Gentlemen, this has been very heated. This has been fantastic. So before we reveal who won, this has been a great tournament. Everything's been great. You guys have performed amazingly. But your new Scrap for Your City champion is Hunter Mitchell with the Denver, Colorado. Congratulations, Hunter. Denver really knows how to scrap. But don't go far away because we'll be right back with more content here on The Big Hit Meets Press Start.
How about Denver taking it all?
You know what, Jake? Matt,
yeah.
This episode has taught me a lot. Our friends from The Big Hit, actually, maybe I'm just going to start watching sports.
Yeah.
I feel like I changed, man.
Absolutely.
But anyways, at that note, this is the end of our episode. As always, be sure to check us out at Press Start IUP-TV. And as always, I'm your host, Colton.
And I'm your host, Matt. And check us out next time where we'll probably be playing something else. See you guys. All right, get the f*** out of my studio.